Hey.
Hey, you want to do a two-person Nuzlocke?
Do I have a choice?
No, not really. We actually ended up failing our first attempt, so here are the rules for the two-person Nuzlocke while you're watching the footage for the first attempt. It's pretty much standard Nuzlocke rules, where every new location or route, we can only catch the first pair of Pokemon we meet, and if either of us can't catch it or it dies, that's just tough luck. If we manage to catch those two Pokemon, they're then considered linked, meaning if one of them dies, so does the other one. Any Pokemon in my party has to have its linked partner in Trevor's party. Also, we can only have one of each primary typing between both of our teams, meaning if I have a water type, Trevor can't have one. We also completely randomized everything, making every encounter, trainer, and Pokemon's abilities completely randomized, making things extra spicy. So yeah, as you can see, Trevor got completely beamed by his rival fight, and we lost. On our second attempt, I was offered a Ditto, Plusle, and a Wooper. Trevor had the options to choose between Kabuto, Makuhita, and Alakazam. I chose Wooper and Trevor chose Alakazam, and we named them Alakawoop. We strolled up to a rival who was significantly easier for both of us this time around. After defeating them, we collected their balls before rushing to Route 101 for our first encounter, who was a Wurmple and a Vaporeon, who we managed to catch and named Wurmporeon. Our next encounter was on Route 103, where we got a Poochyena and a Seviper, who we caught and named Pooviper. After that, we found a Zigzagoon Swablu encounter, but Trevor was a little heavy-handed and ended up killing it. The astute among you probably noticed by this point that my encounters aren't very random, which I realized once I fought this little kid who had two Wurmples. I must have forgot to hit the randomize button on my Game Boy Advance, so I restarted my game and ran my way back to Professor Birch, who offered me a Loudron, Ekans, and a Vigoroth. I chose Vigoroth and collected my encounters on the first few routes. This is our new team. We got Alakawoop the Vigoroth, Wurmpion, who is now a Sunflora, and Pooviper, who is a Machoke. With our team sorted, we made our way to Petalburg City and met our dad for the first time. Then, Wally taught us how to catch a Pokemon. I must not have been listening well enough to Wally's demonstration, because I couldn't catch the Steelix in our next encounter, and then I killed the Nidoran in the encounter after that. We were making our way towards Rustboro City when Trevor fought these two little girls, and one of them had a Mew, which is kind of a weird flex, but whatever. We arrived in Rustboro City and stopped by Route 116 for one more encounter before challenging the first gym. Let's see what I get. I got a Mischievous, and Trevor gets... He gets a freaking Rayquaza? Well, it's not like he can catch it. Alright, okay, well, welcome to the team, Miss Quaza. I'm gonna make this perfectly clear. If we end up losing Miss Quaza, I am 100% positive it's going to be because I got Mischievous killed. She's like Rayquaza's Achilles heel or something. We trained in the grass for a little while, then once we were ready, we challenged the gym. Trevor had a pretty easy time. I mean, why wouldn't he? He has a Rayquaza and an Alakazam. But he managed to take her out pretty easily. Meanwhile, I was having a harder time. She sent out a Jinx, which I was struggling to get my footing against. Eventually, Pooviper managed to take it out. Wurmpion pretty easily took on her Cloyster, and then she sent out Delibird, which was rough because I didn't have a good Pokemon to take it on. I used Wurmpion's higher level and 2 Razor Leaf crits to take it out. With our first gym badge under our belts, we made our way to Rust Turf Tunnel where we encountered a Celio Kakuna who we caught and named Roger. After saving this guy's dog, we went and put Roger into the PC. Remember that rule where each team can only have one primary typing? Well, we were dumb and thought Celio was a water type, but he's actually an ice type, so we accidentally put him into the PC even though we could have used him. After hitching a ride in Mr. Briney's boat, we arrived at Dewford Town where we intended to catch a bunch of Pokemon. We rushed to Granite Cave and caught a Marshtomp and Zigzagoon we named Zigstomp. Then we fished in Dewford Town and I found a Ninetales, and Trevor found a... oh, come on! A Kyogre? Well, it's too bad he won't be able to... Oh. Alright, well, welcome to the team, Kytails. We're not going to use him because Wurmpion is my strongest Pokemon by far, but geez, Trevor, you're going for the Holy Trinity over here. We also fished up a Bellsprout Milotic, but this Milotic was particularly stoned and had Truant, making it unable to move every other turn, so we didn't even bother catching the pair. Next up was Brawly, the Dewford Town gym leader. He opened by sending out Slowking and Deoxys. Miss Quaza thought she could take him down, but it knew Ice Beam, which is 4 times effective against Dragon and Flying. After living on 4 health, Trevor switched in Alakawoop. Meanwhile, I couldn't figure out how to kill this Slowking. I settled on using Miss Quaza's Astonish to hopefully chip away at it, but it knew Rest and could heal to full before I had the chance to kill it. Eventually I waited for it to use Rest, and I switched in Wurmporeon to try to get a swift kill before it managed to use Flamethrower or Fire Blast. I took it out and Trevor finished off the Deoxys. Next was Sharpedo and Relicanth, which we both took out easily. Next for Trevor was an Aggron, so he led with Wurmporeon. However, Aggron immediately tried to use Thunder, which would surely have one-shot Wurmporeon. Alakawhoop was injured, so he was forced to switch in Viper to buy some time. He dodged a couple thunders and tried to get a paralyze off with Lick, but to no avail. Without much of a choice, he used his turn to heal Alakawhoop, but in the process, Viper was crit by thunder and died. His sacrifice was not in vain, because Alakawhoop came out stronger than ever and hell-bent on revenge. With a couple of Psybeams, Aggron eventually fell. Meanwhile, Brawly sent out Xatu. I used Viper since he was already dead and hoped to get some chip damage in. After Viper was killed, I knew that it knew Shadow Ball, meaning I couldn't send out Miss Quaza, and Alakawhoop was already too weak, meaning I had to rely on Wormporion. I sent him out, set up Ingrain, and chipped away at him. Xatu also knew Rest, making it an agonizing battle. After defeating Brawly, we placed Viper into the PC and said our goodbyes. After taking some time to mourn, we found Steven being a creep at the end of this cave. Then we took the ferry to Slateport City, where Trevor killed our encounter while fishing on Route 109. I settled the score by killing the next encounter. At this point we realized we were way too strong, so we trained up Kytails in hopes of using them to catch wild Pokemon. Our next encounter was an Absol and Wingull, which was exciting because Wingull would be a much better Pokemon for Trevor than Vaporeon, and I would happily take an Absol over a Sunflora. We managed to catch them and name them Wingsoul. I don't really know why, but we decided to challenge the battle tent. It ended with Trevor and I committing war crimes by using self-destruct with our Bell Toys. Some plot happened and we found ourselves paying $50 for the privilege of saving this museum from Team Aqua. We made pretty quick work of them and then headed north where Trevor straight up murdered this girl's Eevee with God. Then we fought our rivals who we kind of just... We stole her item finder and made our way to Maulville City. Our plan was to train up Kytails a little more before catching any Pokemon. I thought I would farm off this double battle when something incredible happened. As you can see, I was using my Game Boy's speed up feature and I wasn't paying attention when suddenly Kytails just died. Like, what the heck even happened? Apparently this level 15 Swell knew Hyper Beam and absolutely floored Kytails. I'm not happy about it, but with heavy hearts we placed Ninetales into the PC while Trevor let Kyogre roam the fields of the daycare in the sky. We went to Route 111 and fished up an Electrode and Cascoon combo. This was exciting because that was a unique typing that we didn't have on our team, which would bring our party size to 4 instead of 3. We caught them and named them Gobi. We were training up Gobi when this trainer challenged me. He threw out a Dusclops, and as you can see I don't have any moves that can hit it yet. So I went to switch him out with another Pokemon when I saw this thing has Shadow Tag, meaning I can't switch out and I can't run away because it's a trainer battle. So Trevor and I sat there and brainstormed ideas for like 5 minutes until I came up with a plan. First I let him get me as low as possible. Then I heal and repeat this process over and over again. Once he runs out of damaging moves, I can just wait him out until he runs out of power points. Then he'll be forced to struggle, which is a move that deals recoil damage to him. Then I repeat the process of healing as he slowly whittles himself down. As you can see, Trevor was understandably pessimistic about my chances of pulling this off. I got him down to half health when I unfortunately ran out of healing items, leaving me no choice but to let Gobi die. Rest in peace, Gobi. He gave it his best shot. After that tragedy, next up for us was Watson's Gym. Trevor had a pretty easy time. Wormporion gunned down the Hariyama, Miss Quaza ancient powered the Beautyfly, and Alakawhoop Psybeamed the Claydol and the Dugong soon after. As for my fight, I made the big mistake of using Ingrain, which heals me over time, but I didn't realize that I couldn't switch out after I'd used it. So essentially I have to sweep his team with Wormporion. I used Razor Leaf to chip down the Jirachi. Next was Feraligatr, which went down easy. Same with his next Pokemon, Azumarill. Last was a Gengar, who also got Razor Leafed. Having narrowly avoided tragedy, we earned our 3rd badge. After that we realized we forgot to fish on Route 115, so we went there and fished up our encounter. We got a Dragonite and an Articuno. Holy cow, this is gonna be the perfect combo. That is, unless Trevor unfortunately only has 13 Pokeballs and cannot catch the Articuno. It was this encounter that made us coin the phrase, always bring enough Pokeballs to catch a legendary. Despite feeling a little downtrodden, we pushed on to Felibor Town. We fished just beside the town and found a C-Dot Hitmonchan encounter, who we named Seed-Chan, like the weebs we were. We were getting kinda sick of only having 3 Pokemon, so we rearranged our teams by booting Wyrmpion and putting in Seed-Chan and Wingsoul. Then we made our way to Meteor Falls, where we found Team Magma and Team Aqua arguing about, I don't know, like what Starburst flavor is the best, I don't remember. After they left, the scientists told us we need to go to Mount Chimney. I kid you not, we took like 20 minutes trying to find it, but eventually we found the chairlift that took us there. We bulldozed through the Team Magma grunts and talked to Archie, then promptly kicked his teeth in. On our way back down the mountain, we came across a Regirock and Zapdos encounter. I really should have known better, but I tried to weaken it and it just straight up exploded and killed Wingsoul. So yeah, rest in peace, buddy, sorry about that. Our next gym battle was against Flannery. Nothing much really happened, we were kinda crazy over-leveled. Although during the battle, Trevor's Rayquaza was confused and it hurt itself. Just look how much damage it did, oh my gosh. After we each finished off her last Pokemon, my Vigoroth finally evolved into a Slacking. We made our way back to Petalburg City to beat up our dad, who was the next gym leader. Before that, we fished up an encounter and found a Bagon and Houndoom, who we caught and named Hoagie. We strolled into our dad's gym and engaged him in Mortal Kombat. Both of us didn't really have a hard time. At this point, my Slacking can one-shot almost anything, and between Alakawhoop and Misquaza, nobody stands a chance against Trevor. Once we were done laying our dead out to dry, we prepared to take to the open ocean. Little did we know this was going to be the hardest part of our run, trying to figure out how we can use Surf at the same time. If you care, here's a chart of which of our Pokemon can use Surf. Did you know Zigzagoon can learn Surf? Because I sure didn't. Thankfully, he was linked with Marshtomp, who can also learn Surf. Only problem is if we bring in Ziggstomp, we can't use Wurmpion or Alakawhoop. And bear in mind, we still haven't realized that Celio is actually an Ice type, which would have fixed this whole problem. So, with the addition of Ziggstomp, that leaves my best Pokemon as Misquaza, which is really making me nervous because if she dies, so does Trevor's Rayquaza. We set sail onto Route 108, where we found Combuskin and Octillery and caught them and named them Combillery. We then hopped on board the abandoned ship and fished for a Marowak and Primeape, who we named Marowake. We were going to stick around and train a little bit, but I was getting my butt absolutely handed to me, and Seachan almost died to this crazy Pidgeot, so we hurried through the water back to Slateport City. We made our way to the power plant, where we found a Trico and Onix encounter, who we named Raisin. We added them to the team and switched out Seachan for Marowake, because frankly my Nuzleaf is practically useless. We also got an encounter on Route 119, which was a Trapinch and a Steelix, who Trevor named Steelpinch. I was a dingus and forgot to name mine. With Steelpinch, we were able to construct a team of 5 for the first time, with Raisin, Misquaza, Steelpinch, Alakawhoop, and Combillery. We stormed the Weather Institute and were clearing out all the team— oh, I just realized that was a joke. The Weather Institute stormed? Anyway. Trevor got into this double battle, and one of them had a Regice. We started having flashbacks to the Wingsoul incident of 2022, so Trevor had to walk the fine line of bomb defusal. Thank the stars he managed to take it out before it exploded. We finished clearing the building and took out Shelly. Then after overhearing some plot that I frankly don't care about, we made our way to Fort Tree City. After doing some training in the grass nearby, I got Steelpinch up to speed while Trevor did the same for Combillery. I really don't even know why we bothered, because Alakawhoop and Misquaza were so disgustingly overleveled that we swept the entire team of the next gym leader, Winona. If anyone's read the rules for the Soul-Link, there's actually a rule where you can't overlevel like we did, and to be honest I kind of regret ignoring that rule, and if we do this again, I promise we'll follow that rule. Anywho, after collecting our gym badge from Winona, we went to go fight our rivals. Nothing really interesting happened other than Alakawhoop taking an exploding Claydol to the face and almost dying. We made our way to Mount Pyre and found a Jolteon Swinub encounter, who we named Joltub. We were able to add them to our team, finally giving us a full team of 6. We were on our way to Team Magma's hideout when I came across this Slowpoke that somehow knew Fly. Like, I have no idea how. Maybe it was another move like Pounce or something, I don't know. But I shot it out of the sky with thunder. After that, we barged into Team Magma's hideout, and you can probably imagine that we just leveled the floor with everybody and then obliterated Maxie. Honestly, I kind of feel like we were playing on easy mode, like nothing could challenge us, we just defeated everything that we came across, we were just unstoppable. But we were getting too comfortable, lazy, sloppy. Little did we know the next gym was going to challenge us in ways we never thought possible. We were fighting our way up to the gym leaders when Trevor came across a trainer with a Golem. Trevor led with Alakawhoop, but then decided to switch into Steelpinch. Unfortunately, the Golem knew Magnitude, and used a Magnitude 6 to crit him, killing him instantly. Ugh, rest in peace Steelpinch. My Vibrava was only 4 levels away from becoming a Flygon. Being one member down, we began the gym battle against Tate and Liza. For Trevor, they sent out Smoochum and Glalie. Trevor bravely challenged them with Misquaza, knowing that an ancient power would be super effective, and he hoped to take out the Glalie in one shot. However, if you've noticed, we're suddenly not as overleveled as we used to be, and Glalie survived the hit. Glalie retaliated by using an Ice Beam against Misquaza. We had no choice but to watch with bated breath to see if they would survive the blow. Despite the crippling blow we had endured, Trevor's fight was far from over. He sent out Alakawhoop and Joltub to scare off the Glalie. He managed to take down their Latios, but Tate and Liza had their eyes locked on Joltub. They kept pelting Joltub with Psychics and putting him on very low health over and over again. While heal stalling with Joltub, Alakawhoop had space to slowly chip down their Pokemon. Everything was going according to plan. Joltub was taking it like a champ. But luck was not on his side, because at the very end, the Porygon 2 landed a crit Psychic, and unfortunately, Joltub was killed. Combillery came out to finish the job, but the damage was already done. We had lost 3 Pokemon in one gym. Oh, you want to hear about my battle? Oh yeah, it was no sweat. Miss Quaza's last act on this earth was to guide Alakawhoop to a flawless victory against Tate and Liza. Oh my gosh, what a tragedy, losing Rayquaza and Mischievous. It really blows for me too. I mean, Mischievous was a really solid member of my team, and honestly, shout out to them for not being the first one to die. Like I said earlier, I was almost positive that if anyone's gonna die, it was gonna be Mischievous. After that humbling experience, we restructured our team by adding Marowak, the Primeape and Marowak, as well as adding Hoagie, the Houndoom, and Bagon. After stepping foot in Sootopolis, we went looking for Team Aqua's hideout, where we barged in and beat the snot out of Archie. Then we made Kyogre real mad, where he took off to pick a fight with Groudon, who was all like, "You gotta just let them pile up and do all the dishes at once." And then Kyogre was all like, "Oh, that's disgusting, just watch each dish as you dirty it." We climbed our way up to the top of the Sky Pillar, where we found Miss Quaza chilling out in heaven. We asked them to break up the fight between Kyogre and Groudon.
What are you two doing? I came all the way from the afterlife to find you two causing earthquakes and floods, all because you disagree about how to do your dishes? Obviously you should just use paper plates.
Oh, that's way too expensive. Yeah, that's stupid.
Ugh, come on babe, tell him.
I just use the dishwasher.
What? No you don't. I always see you taking my paper plates.
Don't gaslight me. I've never touched your nasty plates.
Yeah, you're so insufferable. You dishwashing heaven piece of crap.
You're always so unreasonable.
I'm not the one who thought they could take an ice beam.
After saving the day, Miss Quaza returned to the afterlife and we began preparations for the next gym. This time around we were determined to not be underleveled. While training, Trevor was fighting a trainer's Wobbuffet who used Destiny Bond on Conbillary while he was diving, meaning if Trevor killed Wobbuffet with Conbillary, he would die too. Unfortunately, he couldn't stop the dive from hitting Wobbuffet and Conbillary was unfortunately killed. If you think the tragedy ends there, Trevor was training up Hoagie when he got self-destructed by a coughing. While their deaths were tragic, our other Pokemon were well over-leveled, so we decided to take on the next gym without replacing them. Absolutely nothing interesting happened. We were horrifically over-leveled and we won with ease. And here we are at the Elite Four after another unnecessary training session. Here are our final teams going in. You'll recognize Marowak and Alakawhoop, but now we've added Baygator, the Meganium, and Feraligatr, who we caught on Victory Road on the way up here. You'll also see we have Prego, the Banette, and Blaziken. And you'll also notice we finally realized Roger exists. So now I have a Walrein and Trevor has a Beedrill. Once we were all stocked up on healing items, we made our way in and challenged Sydney. It was a pretty standard battle for us. My MVP was Alakawhoop and Trevor's was Baygator, whose ability was Sunny Day, allowing him to use Solar Beam without charging it. Honestly, you probably couldn't have asked for a better ability on Meganium. Our second battle against Phoebe was also pretty easy. We both used Roger to take her down. In the next battle against Glacia, my Baygator was against her Golduck. I hit it with a Hyper Beam, but it survived and used Counter.
You are dead! Not a big surprise.
Baygator couldn't stand a chance and died. I sent out Prego to finish off the rest of her Pokemon, while Trevor's Alakawhoop swept her team. Next up was Drake, who I beat pretty easily using Alakawhoop and Prego, while Trevor and Marowak went on an absolute killing spree. Next up was our last battle against Wallace. One last victory and we win the Nuzlocke. My battle started with Alakawhoop one-shotting his Alakazam, then Prego chipped away at his Quagsire. Marowak used Bonerang to take out his Ninetales, and Alakawhoop hyper-beamed the Slowbro. Roger came out and one-hit KO'd his Golem with Surf. Lastly was Butterfree, who I intended to kill using only burn damage, so Prego used Will-O-Wisp and let it slowly die. Meanwhile, Trevor's Prego used Overheat to one-shot Wallace's Beedrill. Then, Trevor sent out a Beedrill of his own to take out Wallace's strongest Pokemon, Deoxys. Trevor didn't just want to win, he wanted to send a message. Slowly he whittled down Deoxys until the onslaught of pin missiles was just too much. Roger was victorious. Next up, Prego overheated the Blossom, then cross-chopped the Crawdaunt with Marowak. At this point, Trevor was watching me style on the Butterfree, so he decided to pump up some roids on Marowak and absolutely clobber his Manectric. Although after downing 3 X attacks, Manectric landed a crit Thunder, killing Marowak. Okay, yep, sorry about that one, that's definitely our bad, sorry Marowak. Okay, we're done fooling around, right? So Trevor sent out his healthiest Pokemon, Prego, and immediately also got crit Thundered. But in an act of pure defiance, Prego survived on 1 health using a Focus Band, which mind you only has a 10% chance of saving a Pokemon from fainting. I have absolutely no idea why Trevor decided to put the Focus Band on Prego, but it definitely worked out. We were done messing around and Trevor healed up Prego and then finished it off with a Blaze Kick, just as I had finished committing arson against this Butterfree. And just like that it was over. We had won. We defeated Wallace and completed the Nuzlocke. The only surviving Pokemon from our main teams were Prego, Roger, and our starters, Alakawhoop, who had been there since the very beginning.
If you loved me, you wouldn't have killed me.